Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the individual clip on introducing the Mark of the Beast. This is part of a greater live stream. You can find the link to the entire live stream down below if you want to see the whole thing. But today we are going to be talking about digital IDs and the Mark of the Beast. And even if you're not a religious Jesus freak like me, why this is important and why it matters. And maybe even if you don't like that kind of stuff, maybe you'll understand a little bit more about why some of us are taking this stuff a little serious. So of course it kind of starts with what's going on over in the UK right now, because this is making huge news. And this is actually one of these things they kind of call it like a journalist archive where the Guardian actually has a series of articles about this. You can click into each one of these. We're not going to go to each one of these. I'm actually going to go over to the actual UK's government site and see what they're all about. But as of right now, an online petition saying the government should not introduce digital ID cards is heading for 900,000 signatures. Now, in the UK, any of these petitions that reach over 100,000 signatures have to be brought up for a discussion. And so usually there's no evidence that actually says, usually there's no evidence that has actually caused any change, but at least it has to be discussed. And there are several other MPs in UK that are actually mad about this. And so it is certainly a significant thing that the online cards, basically 900,000 people are kind of mad about all this nonsense. Then there's some discussion. If we get this digital ID system working and the public being with us, that will be the bedrock of modern state and will allow for really quite exciting public service reform in the future. Really exciting public service reform. Like if you do not have this mark on your hand or your forehead, you can't eat. And that's really what caused a lot of people a lot of concern, because the prime minister, was it the prime minister, I think, that announced this? He basically said in no uncertain terms exactly, if you do not have this, you cannot work. That becomes perilously close to what the Mark of the Beast is recorded in the book of Revelation. And I'm sorry, I'm going to subject you to that in a little bit. But the petition has been live since June. The number of people signing only shot up yesterday when it was reported that Starmer was about to confirm that the plan is going to go ahead. Once again, people aren't really paying a whole lot of attention. So what is about this digital ID? So having a look at the actual digital ID scheme from the UK government, this is the UK government official website, published 26 September 2025. So a new digital ID scheme will make it easier for people across the UK to utilize vital government services. It will be required for right-to-work checks to stop those with no right to work from being in the country. You see, like United States prior to Donald Trump, they had a really bad illegal immigration problem. And because nobody wanted to stop and do anything about it. And now it posed a big question. Well, what are we going to do? Well, rather than, checking people's IDs, they would just kind of let people work. And now they're like, well, you got to have this. It's mandated by law. Anybody employing somebody's got to do this. Well, unless, of course, they're still paying people under the table, which happens all the time anyway. And some people criticizing this says this is not going to stop that. This is not going to stop that. This is just one more barrier and one more means to digitally control people who you don't like. And by the way, in the UK, it's like that meme. I have a meme going around. Guys, how do you like being in the UK? Can't complain. Well, that's great. No, I can't complain because I'll be thrown in jail. That's the UK right about now. Okay, people are roaming the streets, roofing people, and they don't want to do anything because it's all those Arabs. Literally, guys, that's what's going on. However, they're kicking in doors for people posting spicy memes on the internet. It is messed up. Do not go to UK right now. It is a dangerous place. All this is going to do is intensify the problems. It will also be required for right to work checks to stop those with no right to be in the country. How it works. Your free digital ID will be stored securely on your phone. That's exciting. And will help prove your identity, including age, residency status, simplifying access to government services, and a range of uses across the private sector. So it'll be free to download, and employers will be required to check it as evidence of your right to work in the country. Your digital ID will be the authoritative proof of who someone is and their residency status. course, it's digital services, guys. This stuff can be hacked, spoofed, or whatever else. It'll include your name, date of birth, information on nationality or residency status, and a photo as the basis for the biometric security, such as an e-visa or passport, but updated for the modern digital age they live in. What will it do? It will improve access to public services like education and social benefits by making it easier for everyone to quickly and easily prove their identity. It also toughens employment checks, including those across the gig economy, and it streamlines verification process across the private sectors by enabling digital ID checks and efficient verification when you're doing things like opening a bank account or proving your age. So streamlining access, of course. How will it be protected? They will be stored directly on your own device, just like contactless payment cards or the NHS app today. Of course, they'll use state-of-the-art encryption and authentication technology. You know, that kind of stuff that the hackers already got through. Yeah. User control is at the heart of the proposal. Sharing information contained in the ID should be instigated by you, and it will be transparent with whom the information will be shared. Your personal data will be better protected. That's because if a phone is lost or stolen, your credentials can easily be revoked and reissued, providing better security than traditional physical documents. So basically, it's just like having all those documents just directly in your phone. So this is funny. I found these statistics really hilarious. Why will this help? Well, it's estimated 10% of UK citizens have never had a passport, while 93% of people own a smartphone. Okay, are there any statistics people in here? Okay, reverse those statistics, Sarah. Okay, that means 90% of UK citizens have never had a passport, while 93% have smartphones. We're only talking about a 3% difference. This is meaningless. This is totally meaningless. It's an example of how you can, for instance, look at this, only 10%, oh my Lord, the 10 to 90, wow. Oh, no. It's 10% don't have this, but 93% have this. Which means you either report 10% or 7% or 90% and 93%. But you can't do that because it makes it sound like this is not as significant as it is. Do we have functioning brains, folks? Apparently not. They, as part of our consultation, we'll be making sure the scheme is inclusive. They do have an alternative for people who don't have smartphones. So that's good. Face-to-face help is on hand during the rollout. Ongoing support and dedicated casework can be provided for challenging situations. So, of course, why will it be a legal requirement? To help tackle illegal working, it will be a legal requirement for employers to check your digital ID as proof of your right to work, for instance, before you start a new job. Of course, the only other thing they mention in here is with police can't stop and ask you for it. That's kind of the case. Let's hit the customize button. Oh, come on. Reject all. There you go. So here's what we know and what we don't know right now from Politico. So you will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have a digital ID. That sounds perilously close to in Revelation. You know, everyone who does not have this cannot participate in the economy. All right. So the conservative leader, Kema Badenoch, called the idea a desperate gimmick that will do nothing to stop the boats. A Reform UK spokesman said that the digital ID would have little effect on illegal working and that all it would do is impinge further on the freedoms of law-abiding Brits, which is true. Here's what we do know. All UK citizens and legal residents will need to produce digital ID to prove their right to work by the end of this Parliament, which is August of 2029 at the very latest, which, by the way, I'm covering this in my Christian channel next Tuesday on the Daily Walk. 2030 is an important year, and I just can't help to note that this date is perilously close to 2030. Like an e-visa or passport, ID will include a person's name, date of birth, nationality, residency status, and a photo. And the government also said the ID will be available to use for providing identity when voting in elections, and that it could be used by private sector organizations like when setting up a bank account. What we don't know is, in short, quite a lot, they said. It's unclear whether the system itself is developed in-house, as with the government digital service one login, or it's outsourced to the private sector. If it's outsourced to the private sector, this is particularly dangerous because governments forcing people to have something that has to go through a private sector is always dangerous. They also said digital IDs can do more for our citizens than just combat this, which means they plan to use it for a whole lot more. This is just the Trojan horse to get it in. It's also unclear whether physical documents would remain valid as proof of identity. Migrant rights campaigners have long protested the use of home office transition to digital-only status on the grounds of inclusivity and reliability. So, digital ID. Okay, is this like really mark of the beast? Is this something that's not? Let's have a quick look at that verse from the Bible itself. So from the NASB 95 version, the mark of the beast is specifically mentioned in Revelation 13, 16, and 17. And it says, he causes, he is the great beast who is assisting the Antichrist. He causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, the free and the slaves, to be given a mark on the right hand or on their forehead. And he provides that no one will be able to buy or sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. So here's the challenge, is that even if you do not believe in Christianity, you have to recognize a lot of people do. And for me as well, this is 100% true. This is going to happen. It's going to happen before all the Christians are taken out of here as well. I know that's a controversial point to some of you. Some of you guys think, oh, that doesn't matter. I'll be long gone before here. God's going to rapture me on out. No, this happens before the rapture. We are commanded to keep an eye out for this kind of stuff. And the fact of the matter is, even if you don't believe this, this is deeply held truths by a lot of people. And if you cannot come to the grip and the understanding that those people have this deep level of concern, well, you know what? This gives us solid precedent. We're talking about a force not like we have right now. We're talking about a force infinitely worse than China and Russia and all these other boogeymen that want to be thrown out across anywhere in the West, or, you know, if you ask all them, United States, anyone else on, you know, out there, infinitely worse than the boogeyman you can even dream up. This will literally be, you take this mark or you are 100% excluded from all of society. And by the way, you're not allowed to hunt either. We'll kill you for poaching also. That's the level of nonsense that this is. Now, other countries are starting to get into these digital ID stuff as well. Russia, now China already has one. Their WeChat system already integrates payment systems, IDs, and things like that. Russia just is launching their own digital ID system as well. And as of September of this month, their new application is required to be pre-installed on every phone in Russia. So Russia's state-backed copy of WeChat launches a digital ID. The state-backed super app Max has launched its test version of digital identity feature designed to allow users to prove their age and identity and use digital documents the same way as physical ones, combining digital IDs with messaging, money transfers, and government and private sector e-signatures and social media functions. In other words, in order to participate in society, China uses WeChat, Russia now uses Max, UK's getting their nonsense. How long before the United States gets one? And by the way, just for all the people out there, it's going to be the conservatives that develop the technology, but it's going to be the liberals who deploy it on the people. That's what's going to happen. So they're equal opportunity. There's going to be good people on both sides of it that find their way in hell. Okay. There's one way out of that place. All right. Users over the age of 18 can create a digital ID by connecting to the country's government platform. And that's Gosaluji. That sounds very much like Gulag, but anyway. And verify their identity using biometric data from the government's unified biometric system, the UBS system. Very interesting. We'll get kind of into that kind of stuff a little bit more. Max users will be able to pay fines, taxes, make doctor appointments, and order taxis and delivery. The platform is heavily promoted by Moscow, which is mandated that all new smartphones sold in Russia come with Max pre-installed starting September 1st of 2025. In August, the country effectively blocked their main competitors, WhatsApp and Telegram, claiming that the foreign-owned messaging apps were being used for fraud and bad stuff, which they probably were, for being completely honest. But what does all this have to do with, buying and selling and all this kind of stuff? Well, way back, I saw this article back in 2022, and it's definitely interesting. MasterCard launches tech. Isn't it funny it's called MasterCard? MasterCard launches tech that lets you pay with your face or hand in stores. Wait. Forehead or right hand? Face or MasterCard? MasterCard, are you the Antichrist? They're piloting new technology that lets shoppers make payments with just their face or hand at the checkout point. The company on Tuesday launched a program for retailers offering biometric payment methods like facial recognition and fingerprinting scanning. Okay, the research we've done has told us that consumers love biometrics, said the Antichrist. Wait, hold on. That said Aja Bahali, the MasterCard's president of cyber and intelligence. That must be the false prophet. I don't know. Hey, we've identified the false prophet, folks. There he is. All right. How does this work? To sign up on MasterCard, you take a picture of your face or scan your fingerprint to register with an app. This is done on your smartphone or at a payment terminal. You can then add a credit card which lets you get linked to your biometric data, similar to tech that's being trialed by Amazon in the U.S. That was the stores you go and they ended up. It came out a couple months ago that they were actually just a bunch of Indians watching you around the store. That's why people weren't getting their bills for later. Those guys had to figure out what you actually had and didn't have and manually process the order. It was kind of fun. But it's like, that's 2022. What's going on? So I dig around a little bit more. And that 2030 date keeps showing up. It's going to be 2030. We'll own nothing and be happy, folks. That 2030 keeps showing up. By 2030, MasterCard aims to cancel manual card entry by 2030. This is Payments Dive, and this is from November of 2024. Just almost a year ago, okay? In the data brief, MasterCard aims to replace the need for manual credit card entry and one-time passwords with tokenization and biometric authentication at online checkout by 2030, the card networking giant said on Wednesday. So, no more putting in your credit card. You have a token, and then you verify it with your right hand or your forehead. And that is how you buy goods in the new digital age by 2030. I'm not being a prophet here, but maybe 2030 is about the time we're going to see this roll out. There's some evidence. There's actually some extra evidence out there. But you have to understand, the mark of the beast, even if you do not follow religious circles, you at least have an idea of what it is. And you understand that these are deeply held beliefs. And a lot of people look to this. However, we are commanded in the Bible to pay attention to the signs. This is your sign, folks. By 2030, MasterCard wants to verify all your purchases by fingerprints and face scans. And by the way, they've been taking a major lead over Visa to the point where almost every bank I have now, it's a MasterCard. I only have one bank now that still uses Visa as their debit card system. And I don't like MasterCard. I'd rather have Visa. I mean, they're both the devil, but, you know. So there's our introduction to the mark of the beast. I hope you're not too terrified by all that. But with that, again, this was a segment of a longer stream. You can catch the whole stream linked in the description down below.